So here's our cowl. It's dry enough now to pick up. It's got a nice hard surface. So the first step is to grab a sharp knife and just put it in beside the glass and just trim it out. Just carefully follow the lines of the balsa. Pull that out, and there we go. So here we are with our cowl again. You'll notice it's got some very shiny spots to it. What we're going to do now is knock down those shiny spots with some sandpaper and start the process of getting it ready for paint. The shiny spots, it's just the raised resin in between the weaves, so we want to get that as smooth as possible. So out comes the sandpaper. You can start with something a bit coarser, 120 grit, 180 would be fine. Just be careful that you don't go through the fiberglass cloth itself and into the weave. If you do, you'll know it. You'll see a quite white spot where you've gone through. If that does happen, a couple of drops of thin CA, let it cure, and light sanding. That'll fix it later when we put the putty on. So here we go. And you can start to see where you're going to need more sanding. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not. Right here where my thumb is, there's like a couple of circles of a lighter color with the gloss on top. So we just want to even that all out, get rid of all the gloss, and make it a nice flat finish. And it does sand nicely. It's the beauty of this resin. And I'll keep sanding and be back shortly. So here we are about 20 minutes later. You can see all the gloss is gone. I've knocked down all the high spots. The next step is to take the shop vac and get rid of all the dust, and then we'll be filling it with some body filler. So before you put the body filler on, make sure all the dust is off, and it's probably a good idea to give everything a good wipe down with a paper towel and some alcohol or some other type of thinner. You notice I have quite a pile of dust here. Probably not a good idea to breathe that in, so if you want to wear a dust mask or something while you're sanding, probably a good idea. Like I said, this took about 20 minutes to get to this stage. This is not a short process by any means. It takes a couple of days and some time to get a good finish on this. If it was quick, ARF builders would do it, right? Now that we have our cowl sanded, we have to get it ready for paint. And it may look like it's good enough for paint, but it's not. If you look close, you can see surface irregularities, a few pinholes in the fiberglass, so we have to get rid of those. What I like to use is glaze and spot putty. This is Bondo brand. It's solvent based, so it is extremely flammable and it does stink, so just keep that in mind when you're doing it. So the way I do it, it's just like putting that white stuff on to start with. You put on a blob. I usually use a bit of a spreader because this stuff's kind of a bit nastier than the water based, and you just butter it on. And as you push it right into the weave of the glass, or any imperfections there are, you'll be able to see the holes that it starts to fill. This will mostly be all sanded off, so don't worry about weight. It'll be quite light. And you go over the whole cowl and all the surfaces. And again, you don't have to worry about neatness. Just get it in there and use a bit of pressure with the spatula and butter it all in there. The thinner you can spread it, the less sanding you'll have to do later. Just have a quick look to see if you've got all the low spots and that you've got the weave filled nicely. And we'll just put that aside and let it dry.